Hey guys, what's up? Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it.
Please like, subscribe, share with your mates, and enjoy the episode.
What's up, guys? Another episode of The Flip Side. I think this might be episode 40, my man. 40, Krishn.
Oh, it is. It is 40. It is 40. Wow. 40 weeks.
Pretty crazy. The big 40. I'm excited for 52 weeks in. It's another milestone. You know, it felt like yesterday that we were sort of celebrating the big 30.
That's very true. That's very true. And it's like 10 weeks ago, 10 episodes ago. I'm just. Do you remember what we talked about in episode 30?
I do not. Let's open up the episode. What's the title of episode 30?
I have it now. A turtle, a bonfire, and one hell of a scary deja vu. So that's when you went on a road trip.
Yes, I remember that. What's that kind of been 10? It felt like I did that at the beginning of the year.
I know, right? Okay, now, pop quiz, episode 20.
Oh, 20. That must have been like, I think that was near the beach, nude beach story maybe. That nude beach, that must have been 24. So 20 must have been before that. What did I do before I went on that road trip? I don't remember.
So that one was, it's not as a memorable one. It's let's talk about vaccines. So I think we're talking the vaccines and stuff. Episode 10.
Elon Musk. Dude, we went through an Elon Musk phase, I remember, but that might have not been it. But episode 10, I can't.
Episode 10 was our first live episode. Our angsty intern reveal.
Oh, yeah. What a throwback.
Absolute throwback and a half. Well, look, 40 episodes in. Thank you so much for listening. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. But how was your week? How's everything been?
It was good. Today was really good. I'm really happy with today. I uninstalled TikTok, so you're never going to see any more TikTok links from me, Krishn. No more TikTok.
No, really? Only posted on, it'll, like, they'll keep posting it, but it won't be you posting it.
I mean, you know how I send you random TikToks all the time? Yeah. That's what I meant. I always send Krishn like these different TikToks. Every time I see something that Krishn, I'll just send it to him.
Yeah. Alright, so you deleted it. It's done.
Next is unplug the TV. So not going to be watching TV. If I ever do replug it in and I get hooked on TV, I'm taking the freaking the power station and just putting that in the front house or something, making it really difficult to get to. What else? Those are the two big pivots, and those like really like just I've had it like a solid productive day, just taking away those two big things. And I think every time I'll compensate with something, I'm just going to remove that. I'm just going to be ruthless. I'm just going to, like, if I get addicted to something, I'm just going to find a way to force myself to not do that. Like, there's always a solution. Yeah.
You operate on two extremes. You allow yourself to sleep at 3 a.m. and then when you realize, last week you realize it clicked, and then bang, you just get rid of it. Instead of just like phasing yourself out of it, you just absolutely get rid of it. You bad man. Oh, I can't do that. So you know what? Props to you for being able to do that, but I could genuinely never do that. So well done. How do you feel?
I feel good. Like today I was a bit tired around 4:30. Usually I'd go on TikTok to like rest, but since I couldn't, I was like, oh, let's go on a walk. I did enjoy a walk, and the walk was amazing. And got back, I was recharged, and I miss doing walks. And I think the reason I don't go on walks is because I relax through other means. But now, since I don't have any other means, walking is my new entertainment. So I'm happy I'm doing that again. And I could see this, hopefully it just gets better and better. I don't know what to do. Like, let's say tomorrow is like Wednesdays. Wednesdays are more chill. Like, what if I just literally got nothing to do? That's the only thing I'm worried about. But I think they'll force myself to like figure out stuff to do, drive to the park, collect some firewood or something. I'll come up with things to do, I reckon. But yeah, let's see how far I can really push this. I am scared of boredom though.
Yeah, like you got to keep yourself busy, active with hobbies and things you enjoy doing. So, but the things you enjoy doing are they're not as easily accessible. Diving, you can't just go diving every second day. You can't, go camping every second day as much as you'd love to, you know what I mean? So small things. Yeah, I rate it. Going on walks and everything. Yeah, I rate it.
I was watching Suits and like how all these lawyers, I smashed it out the remaining season Sunday. Sunday was raining, so I couldn't do anything, but I was like, I haven't done this in ages. I haven't turned into a potato. That's something you haven't heard me talk about in ages. Well, last Sunday, turned into a potato, watched like 10 episodes, finished off Suits, so now I can no longer watch it because I finished it. But it's cool how lawyers, like when they're, obviously it's a TV show, but like these lawyers, every time they're stressed, they do activities. Like they just leave the office, they go like mudding, they go to the shooting range, they go golfing, baseball. Like they have all these like sort of like different activities, random activities. I'm like, maybe I should do those things. Like literally there's like a go-karting sort of indoor thing nearby. Like what if I'm just like bored and like, let's go go-karting by myself? Like I could start building a list of like random stuff like that.
I completely forgot to think about it like that, in the sense that you're right. In every TV show, they always have like a hobby that they always do, like an odd hobby. I forget that Lewis likes mudding. I forget that. Yeah, like, wow. Yeah, just go driving range.
Yeah.
Is there a driving range near you? I think there's.
There is. Yeah.
I still have my $25 voucher. We could totally go to there's one in Wetherill Park or Horsley in the middle between us. We'll do that. But yeah, having these odd hobbies, it just gets your mind off things, lets you go out and venture. But on the topic of something like that, Saturday night, how was your Saturday night? Did you go to that event?
I don't know if I told you the dilemma on how I had to pick between two different things.
No, you didn't.
Oh.
You can tell me later, but
I'll tell you now. So Saturday night, I had to make a tough decision between one of my friends' surprise birthday party, and this event. Now, I've been helping the founder of Rashay, Rami Yakur Rokmul, I can't pronounce his last name, but I've been helping the marketing team sell tickets, and I was given free tickets to attend his event. VIP tickets, which usually would have costed $200, and I was able to bring friends, so I ended up bringing my sales manager. Now, when I asked them, I searched up what the date was, and it was the exact same date, and my heart sunk. I was like, I hate that dilemma where you have two important things and you have to pick, and they're literally at the same time, 6 p.m. And I was like, oh no. Like I really wanted to go to the birthday party because I wanted to meet friends, I wanted to meet people, I wanted to eat, I wanted to just have fun. But at the same time, I also wanted to go to this event because I put in time. I got to know the people who set it up. I knew it was going to be a good networking event. It was a bit uncomfortable because I didn't know too many people there. And it was really tough picking the both. And I think the young me would have always cancelled the important thing for the more fun thing. Now, I'm not saying that my friend's birthday wasn't important, but it was more of like, that wasn't like a once, like in a lifetime thing. Like that's going to happen every year. Whereas this event, this is like once, like there's going to be an event next time, but you miss out on one interaction, one possibility, one touch point to meet these people. Whereas like I already know my friends, but I know for a fact that, dude, when I was young, I had this bad habit of like canceling family things or dodging family things to go to like a friend's birthday party because I was like, oh, I finally got invited. Like this is so cool. I have to go. And just how life works, every time I do that, like it's never worth it. And since then, as I've grown up and I've always picked the more important thing over the cool thing or the fun thing, life has always, like every time I made that decision, it's always been, when I would look the other side, I was like, oh, thank God I made the decision. Like, dude, like another thing, I wanted to, when I was in America, if I flew back in time and I didn't extend it for another 30 days and 2 months, I could have made it to the DEFCON 10-year anniversary. But obviously I scheduled that and then freaking it turned into a DustCon. It was like just dusty event. It wasn't as good as it was. But yeah, I don't know. Is that something you went through, Christian, when you were younger, where you would get invited, and you're like, Mom, can I not go? Like, I got invited. Like, yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, to this day, you know what I mean? Like, just the other week, I had a friend's 21st or 22nd. Everyone's having 22nds this year because last year COVID ruined all the 21st. So everyone's having 22nd. So one of my friends was hosting a 22nd, and we were having a massive family thing on the same day or the next day. But the day before, because we were hosting, there was so much to do and, you know, sort out around the house. Even though it was in the evening, I could have done it during the day and left. But like, I don't know, like I just said no. I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to stay and just help my family. And just, you're 100% right. Like you just look on the other side. It's like a fence. You just look over the fence and just like, I'm so happy I didn't go to that. Like it just would have been trash anyway. You're going to see them regardless. And it's like, I was 100% the same as you. Like I'd, you know, try and get out of family things just to go to, you know, the birthdays and, you know, meet up with the friends. And now I'm older, I just like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like I'll 100% take it, the family time over this, you know what I mean? Like family time over anything like that. Like I just can't be bothered with it. It's just, even then, like you'll go to the party, or what would have intrigued you is like you would have gone and seen certain people that you may not have seen in a while, and it'd be like it's fun and interacting. And then after a while, you're just standing there like, wow, okay, everyone hasn't really moved on, no one's really changed or anything. It's just the same old. Well, I'm just gonna sit here until I just get bored of myself, or maybe I'll just leave early. And then those thoughts start crossing your mind, and you're just like, what the hell, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's very interesting. But yeah, I'm 100% the same. I'm 100%. I'm not even apologetic in it anymore. Before I used to be like, you know, so cut up and hungover about it, but now just somewhat unapologetic. In your situation, it depends, because it's like how close of a friend they are to you. Like if it was one of my close friends, yeah, you know, you have to go, you know what I mean? But even then, it's like this situation is like literally one, and like I'm sure they don't really give that, bro, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, yeah, 100%. These situations come up so often. It's so funny. We're so old now. 22, talking like this. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
I do feel like old, man. Christian, I think I'm officially going to quit alcohol, Christian. No more casual drinks. Like, I'm quitting alcohol. Like, the last time we drank was together. And I think I'm going to keep it going. Like, well, I was talking to my other friend, this friend named Chris in Singapore, and he's killing it when it comes to dropshipping, e-commerce. And he said that when he drinks, if he's hungover the next day, he knows he's going to be groggy and not at his full performance over the next 3 days. Now, even if he has like one drink, he's going to be groggy for the next day or something. One drink. And then when he said that, I was like, that's like interesting, because I do know for a fact that usually when I do drink the next day, like, because I know, like, I'm really self-aware, I know when I'm at 100%, and I know when I'm at like 50%. I know when my mental strength is strong, and I know like, okay, the reason why I need more sleep is because like I really work my brain, and that's why I need more sleep than normal, because I just do more demanding tasks. And I was thinking, I was like, I realized that when I was in high school, I would have 6-7 hours of sleep, no worries. 8 hours of sleep was rare. And for some reason now, I need 8.5 hours sleep of every day. So I thought it was something to do with me, but I think it's just the work I do, the type of work I do. But bringing it back to alcohol, like I do know that my performance does drop when I drink. I want to like, and I know if I just do casual drinks, like casual drinks here and there, it's really, you're in this gray zone where you could just start drinking a lot and go hard one night. But if you say no, then it prevents that possibility.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Because there is
did we meet up when I was like no alcohol during the America phase? I was flying back and forth, and when I came back initially, I just didn't drink any alcohol at all.
When you first came back, you didn't drink any alcohol. I remember that.
Oh, okay.
When you first came back, but I think since then, I don't know. But yeah, I think same as you, I stopped drinking for a year.
Oh, really? Yeah. No way.
In 2018 to 2019.
Tell me about that. What made you want to quit for one whole year?
I don't know, just some bad experiences in 2017, just like stupid shit that I'd said, and then like just getting too drunk. And it's like, you know, when you first get out of high school, you first experience something, or like, you know, for the first time you just get not too hooked on it, but it's like you just can't control or understand yourself too much, and then after a while you grow up, and then it gets a lot easier. So now what I do, because I have my full license now, I just drive to places and I'm just happy driving, and then I just have like maybe 1, 2, 3 beers over the course of the whole night, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I've had enough alcohol. I need to drive everyone back home safely, and if you want me to drive me back home safely, you know, I'm not going to be drinking. That's the way it is. If you want to live back home, then respect that I can't drink. That's what I do now. Whenever I go to people's places, I drive, have maybe 1, 2, 3 drinks, beers, max, stop, done, because I don't want to get in that situation. But if I'm out with friends, then I'll allow myself to have a little bit more, but I know exactly what my limit is, to being understanding is like, okay, I'm having a good time, I'm in a good place, as opposed to being, wow, I'm buzzed, like I'm going crazy, like I'm jumping off the walls and stuff, you know what I mean? Because I haven't been in that situation in a very long time. Maybe on Saturday I was in that situation, but that's not my fault, and I was still safe and I was still a good person. But yeah, 100%. I know exactly where you're coming from, because you're in a situation right now where you don't know, because you're too scared. You're like, you don't know where the grey area is for you. But like, I know exactly where my grey area is now at the moment, in terms of just being like 1, 2, 3 beers maybe, and then that's about it. Like, I'm fine with that. Or even just like 1 or 2 mixes. Like, you know, that night we went out for Anthony's, like we just had a few small drinks here and there, paced out. Not strong. I don't know. Every time I see people going out there doing shots and shit at bars, like, why? Why are you doing that? Like, just sit down, just enjoy yourself. Just
like that experience. Like, well, we're just going to these cool bars, spending time at each bar, talking, trying different things. Like, I think we like, that's what people. I've always noticed, like the weird stuff I do. Like, eventually, that's what everyone does. Like it's just that. It's just like growing. You eventually, like, I know eventually people are going to enjoy sitting down on the couch and just listening to music and then just staring up at stuff. People are eventually going to enjoy catching up with friends to just cook dinner and just eat the dinner they cook. Like, that's eventually going to become a thing. You know what's another thing? Having plants, indoor plants. That's something that's going to be a thing. Like, all these things I think it's just like, yeah, like everyone goes through it, but it's just at a different pace.
Like, some people stay young for a very long time.
Yeah.
And they're, I don't know, it's like everyone perceives fun differently, but I can't see myself still going out every single week for, like, you know, years and years and years, and just keep going. Like, what's the fun in that? I don't know, come on. Like, some people still do it, you know, they still keep going out. Like, why? Like, why do you enjoy it? Like, maybe you go to a club once every 2 years or once every 1 year or something, you know. I just can't do it. It just feels wrong. I just won't enjoy it. But you're right, like, see, those type of plans sound sick. Coming over, cooking dinner, having a chill dinner, just chilling out, even just watching movies or some shit. It's just super chill.
So another thing I realized was that when I was younger, my uncles, there was like this cool uncle. He was cool. He had the cool car. He had the cool hair. Had the cool house. Brought the kids to cool activities. And there was like the quirky one that would take photos. Was like really like just nice, but it was just like he didn't like speak English as fluently. But it's weird how, as time went on, the quirky uncle who just kept being himself, being nice, being a bit goofy, being really generous, always trying to get the bill, always being nice to all the other parents, was other cool uncle that's always has different events on, but he might not always be there because he has another event, or he'll come for a few hours and leave for another party. The table sort of shifted, and the quirky uncle is the one that, you know, I'm really liking. You know, he's nice, he's always helping out. He helped me like install the cameras, and like that's sort of what I'm sort of noticing, how like it's weird how being cool is like what you needed to, like that's who the leader used to be. But now, like, slowly, I don't know if it's like a change of time or when people grow up, but when you're just a nice person, generous, always giving, that's sort of the new sort of type of leader people look up to. I don't know if you sort of have a similar metaphor.
I think it's different for everyone, isn't it? Like 100% the same in terms of just always just be yourself. There's no point trying to, who are you going to impress when you're older? There's no one really cares anymore. Everyone's, like in 5-10 years time, everyone's going to have probably their own family, their own things to do, their own bills to pay and shit to worry about. At the moment, no one's got any of that, you know what I mean? So it's like, I get it. Like, it makes sense in the sense that, like, those people that just worry about themselves, kick on, it's more chill. It's more easy to get along with and everything. But well, I'll move it on. I read something on the news today. I don't know if you read it. The world's first space hotel scheduled to open in 2027. Did you hear about this?
I have not. Tell me about it.
So apparently, in 6 years' time, Jesus Christ, it's 2021, and we're halfway through 2021, by the way. So we're recording this on the 22nd of June. Oh my God, half the year's already done, brother. Half the year is done. Anyway, so they're calling it the Von Braun Station, a futuristic concept comprised of 24 modules connected by elevator shafts, right? And it's going to be like a rotating wheel. So it's going to be like a wheel, and then on the wheel, like, how there's an axis and it's like connecting here, then it's like a circle, right? It's going to be a wheel orbiting the Earth, scheduled to be fully operational by 2027. And it's going to have everything. They're calling it a hotel like no other. And they've got a few like designs that they have out. So they're going to have a gym. They're going to have, I think, a pool and everything. So it's like space tourism companies are like really trying to get on it. So Virgin Galactic to SpaceX and everything. And they're calling it the Voyager Station. And I'm just so blown away by it. They have a 6-year sort of estimated opening time for this. So it's called Voyager Station. Voyager Station. An ambitious space hotel project. Whoa. And it just makes you wonder, what would the cost of that be? That would be astronomical, because only one company would be able to supply essentially flights to there. So one company would control everything: flights, accommodation, and then return flights. Because you're catching a bloody airship today, you're not catching a plane, you're catching an airship, you know what I mean? A spaceship, sorry. Like, Jesus Christ, in 6 years? Nah, surely not.
I went to their investment thingy, and they've raised $1 million, 25 cents per share price.
Really?
Yeah. $1 million. It's so tiny for like something like this. It's still $1 million, but like, what the hell?
It could work, but I don't know. I generally don't know if it could or not. Like, it's just...
The website looks like a game. VoyagerStation.com.
Yeah, I'm on the website now. Should we invest? Should we become majority shareholders?
25 cents per... Yeah. Do we invest like freaking 100,000 and we're 10% shareholder? But I think it's a pretty cool concept, because I could see how like you build this cycle thing, you somehow get it to freaking orbit, and it just rotates forever for free. Like, it's just like using the gravitational pull, and it's like a one-time thing, and you can use it forever. Yes, you might have to repair parts, maybe clean things up. If you find a way to supply oxygen, bring supplies ups and down. Yeah, it's like a one-time investment. It will make money forever. It's like building a bridge. So.
Thing is, there'd always be a demand for it, because there'd always be people willing to go, but the costs associated with maintaining it are like ridiculous, because you have to have one company that are like taking people there and back. And you know how hotels work, everyone chooses a different length of stay, duration of stay. Some people might want to spend 5 nights, 5 weeks. So there's got to be a ship coming back and forth every day. And then there's costs associated with that, the fuel associated with that. That's insane, you know what I mean? Like,
that's $1,000 just to get there for a ticket, plane flight.
Yeah.
Per person.
And it's like, damn, it could make a lot of money if they're able to secure the rights of the spaceship going back and forth as well, if they get a cut in it. And if this actually takes off and works, which I don't know. I don't think so. But like, god damn it, bro. Like, what does the world come to that we're thinking about putting up a hotel in this space, dude?
Krishn, is it possible for like using economics? Is it possible for us to just get really wealthy, where like eventually, like for example, like a flight? I don't know. Yes, flight costs did go down, but even if flight costs were like at $1,000, it feels like more people can afford to fly now than 50 years ago. It feels like more and more people are getting rich, but we still live on the same earth. Now, money is obviously printable, but what really matters is, can you make more products like food? Is there more food in the world? Are there more farms? I guess there are more farms, more products, more GDP. And if there's more food and resources, things go around more, and maybe that's why people are more wealthy. But is it possible to get to a world where there's no longer poor people, and if you're average, you're doing really well, you live in a mansion, and if you're rich, you're flying to space? Or is there not enough resources?
I don't think so, because it's always been that way in the sense that there's always going to be an established wealthy side of town, economy, society, and not because it's like, I know what you're trying to say, because like the middle class now would be like, obviously, I mean, that's inflation, that's everything, right? Middle class now would be millionaires 5, 10, 15, not 5, maybe 10 to 20 years ago, right? Which makes a lot of sense. But I don't know, I don't see it happening.
Here's a good metaphor. Let's say there were 10 people and there were 10 apples. So each person had one apple. Now let's say just because we planted more trees, because we had 10 people, now there's 20 apples in the system. Now every person has 2 apples. Did everyone get richer, or was everyone in the same situation?
That's interesting, eh?
My thought is, I think everyone's actually richer in that situation, because now people can be twice as full. Yes, the worth of an apple has decreased because of supply and demand, because everyone has 2 apples, so everyone's in the same situation, but everyone's twice as full. And I think if we use that same scenario, the apple could be land, house, food, technology, and I think eventually people would have all the basic needs maybe. And yes, now everyone would be in the same situation because everyone has the same shit, but the lower bar has increased.
So that's a good example, but what would you say then if the government just decides to print a bucket load of money and everyone would have access to, everyone would have all those funds, everyone would have that?
Now that's sort of why I probably would emphasize on resources over money. If people had more food, more houses, more technology, and how that would happen is maybe we just make more than the rate of population increase. So therefore, eventually everyone would have a computer, everyone would have a house, everyone would have more food because there's more farms. I guess we'll eventually run out of land to make those things, but given how we're going, if we double the amount of farms we have, we'll still have enough land to live, and now everyone will be twice as full.
That's like, I agree with you in the sense that resources are what makes everyone's essentially quality of life better. However, how do you make resources more equitable for everyone if, you're trying to bridge the gap? So let's take technology for an example. You have different products. The product you're using right now has different ranges, right? Phones. There are, phones in what they call mid-tier, high-tier, and small-tier phones, and lower-tier phones. Lower-tier phones, your cheap $100 phones that you can just buy from anywhere, right? High-tier phones are your Apple iPhone X Pro or whatever it is, whatever they call it, 13 Pro Max or whatever, right? Like $1,500, $2,000 phones compared to like a $100 phone. Both of them allow you to do the same thing and call people. However, obviously, one can't afford the other. Now, phone is just one example, but what I'm trying to say is, how do you bridge the gap to make everyone, like you said, demolish the class of like rich, poor, and middle class? If it's like resources, if you're talking about the allocation of equitable resources, because say housing, for example, if the government were to just decide to just, how do they make housing cheaper? Is by introducing essentially, I don't know how they'd make houses cheaper. I think they'd have to either put more council housing up, state housing up, or by doing so, if they buy up heaps of houses, if they buy up heaps of land and property and just, commission that to be built for council purposes, then essentially the value of houses in that area drop, the value of houses in that state drop, because you owning a house doesn't make you any more special than the person next to you, because the person next to you can essentially own a house and it's like living in the government house, you know what I mean? So like the value of his house would decrease as a result of that. So my thing is, how would that be achieved without government intervention? Because as soon as the government intervenes in anything, its value decreases like accordingly, in terms of like, say the government intervenes and tries to sort out homelessness by giving the homeless people houses. They know that as soon as they do that, the economy is gone. Like, it's a very interesting predicament. What do you think? Like, it makes you think. It does make you think.
Now, talking about houses, I recently heard something from this guy named Cardone. I'm going to play it and you can listen and you can give me your thoughts. I don't know if this is a clip. Hopefully this is a clip.
So I'm going to tell you, everybody here, who owns a house in this room? If you're ever selling a house, sell it now. It's not going to get better. Now, as fast as you can sell it. Like, this economy is not going to get better. It's going to get worse. You're not going to have lower unemployment than you have right now. Okay, the moment the robots start happening, they're going to happen. We've been talking about robots for 50 years. Now they're going to happen. They're not going to happen. We have cars that can actually drive themselves now. Like, it's happening. This is going to happen now. So I would start looking at, you got 78 million baby boomers that are going to get old and die. They're not going to buy another house. The people responsible for the housing industry are going to die in the next 30 years. They're going to be dumping houses. You're going to have 20 million homes on the market with nobody to buy those. Their kids are going to be like, sell it. They're going to be sell it. If you died right now, what would they do with the house?
Yeah, sell it.
They'd sell it. And they wouldn't care what they got for it. They'd be like, sell it as fast as you can, I want my money.
Exactly.
Too many houses. Nobody wants it. Because the kids that are coming up today, they don't want to buy a house. They want mobility. They're smarter than their parents. I would sell the house. I'd go rent some other place, grab my dough, okay? You're probably going to have no tax on the event, or minimal. And I take the money and I invest something that pays you every month that you don't have to manage.
So that was a video. Two things I wanted to bring up. One, the fact that now we have ability to fly all over the world and we don't want to live in one place. And two, something that I was like thinking about, and I don't know how I feel about it. Everyone in our generation, Krishn, everyone in our generation is going to be given a house from their parents. So all of a sudden, I think that's probably a different topic. Well, that's the topic of like our generation. We're just given shit. Like, everyone's going to own a house, and now like owning a house doesn't mean shit because everyone's going to be passed down a house. But what's your thoughts on those few things?
It's actually quite interesting because I understand what you're trying to say in the sense that the baby boomers at the moment in, say, Australia, like you go around majority of states in Australia or wherever, he's right. Baby boomers are the ones owning the houses. They're the ones that have bought it or built it or whatever because, Kellyville area, Stanhope Gardens, etc., those areas, 10 to 20 years ago, that wasn't a place because there was, or maybe 15 years ago, there was nothing there. That land was developed 10 to 20 years ago, right? When there was nothing there. And who bought that land? The boomers.
Mm-hmm.
We were young as hell, but they bought the land. And they bought the land, they're going to hold it. And, they're going to hold it until they retire because that's what happened. They bought it and they did. And until land continues to get developed and, there's new zones that are getting developed, it'll continue to happen. I get what he's trying to say in this. He's trying to say in 20 years, those boomers are just going to hand their houses down to the kids, or those boomers are just going to sell it. And then there's, they're like, God forbid, those boomers pass away and they don't have anyone to put it onto, get sent to the bank, and the bank sells it, whatever. So I think what he's trying to say in 10 to 20 years time, 30 years time, whatever, when the generation of boomers passes down, the ones that have essentially taken on these developmental projects and lands and, build their own houses and everything, when they move on, there's going to be such an oversupply of houses because, they're the ones that built it, created it, and then no one's there to buy it anymore. That's what he's trying to essentially, like, it'll go to the kids and everything. But my rebuttal is, has that not been what's happened in life as we've progressed?
That's true.
As we move on, no matter what happens in the 1920s, you'll have people owning properties here and there, and it's like, it just gets passed down. And no matter what happens, we always look into ways to like develop and, go new opportunities and, the housing. Say we're just focusing on housing right now, right? So like find new areas to develop and, create land and build houses and, build apartments now because there's barely any land left. So what happens if there's no land left? You go up, right? And, it's just evolution, isn't it, brother? It's just evolution. That's the way I think of it. Like I do see what he's saying, and you can put it, and I can understand what he's trying to say when he put it in the context of modern suburbia in Australia, in Sydney suburbia, because at the moment Sydney suburbia is cooked. It is cooked, and you know that just as well as I do. And I think in the context of Sydney suburbia, I think he has a point, but in the broader context, I don't know. What do you think?
Because like talking about like the world and supply and economics, like I was thinking, since we keep building more houses, and technically houses sort of last forever. Obviously they degrade after 30 years, but usually like every time we build more houses, that just gets added to the list of property and land we have in the world that is livable. But every time we add in a new person, that person dies in 100 years. So the population is always like sort of pretty stable, whereas houses just keep increasing. And I was thinking, can we get to a point where eventually there's enough shelter for everyone in the world? Because that's sort of already happening, where like in Australia, everyone has shelter. But like 100 years ago, there was definitely a lot of people that like were homeless in Australia, or lived in the land, or lived in tents. I don't know. Maybe probably people didn't live in tents, but I feel like eventually everyone's going to be able to have like a good life, like with technology, with the abundance of resources. Like when the robots take over, like let's say we have robots farming, there's going to be so much farm, so much food. I feel like, I don't know if I'm optimistic, but I feel like when AI takes over, things will just become so efficient, where government funding, being Centrelink, government assistance, that's what I meant, will just increase. And government assistance is increasing over time. And eventually everyone will be able to have like a normal life. I don't know if that's too optimistic.
It is optimistic, but you also have to think about like, we have an aging population as well. As technology gets better and better and better, people live longer and longer and longer and longer. And the aging population means quick rise in population, because what you said is it stays fairly stable. I get what you're trying to say, but not really as well, because back then people could die really easily of the cold and flu. Now you have the cold and flu shot. Aging population means they live a lot longer, and as they live a lot longer, people are still coming in. You still have someone 80 years old, that person, and like their life expectancy was 70. So say they're 60 at the moment, their life expectancy is 70, 10 more years to live. They live to 80. That's 20 years. In that time, 20 years, someone's been born, grown up for 20 years, and they can possibly try and enter the housing market at that age as well. But these guys are still, the old person is still holding their house.
You're right.
So like what I'm trying to say is like there's a lot of factors in play at the same time, but I can see the possibility of a oversaturated housing market, especially in Sydney, given that you're seeing land being developed in that area that we always drive past when we're going up or down the coast. I forget where it is. It's in the south. No, it's in Menai. It's near Menai.
Oh, okay.
Remember we drove past it all the time. There's like massive walls on the side.
Oh,
massive golf courses
yes. Near like the national park.
Yes.
Wollongong, yes.
Yes. And then like, yeah, like we come off that from the highway. So yeah, but like, yeah.
Now the last thing I wanted to bring up is, what's your thoughts, or how do you feel when you like now think about, close your eyes, think of all your peers, all your friends, or some dinner you went to, and look at everyone and be like, and including yourself, in 30, 40 years, everyone here is going to be passed down a house, or everyone here basically already has a house that is going to be passed down to them when their parents die. How do you feel?
Yeah, you're true. You're right. Everyone will.
Yeah, like I think when I close, one, I feel a bit of like why am I working so hard for?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like everyone's gonna like have a house worth $1 million. That's not fair. But obviously, like my parents, I guess, would leave something for me and my sisters, so I can't be one to judge. Two, I feel like everyone's getting soft. Like a lot of people who don't deserve a freaking $1 million asset is going to get one, and it makes me a bit angry. Yeah. Thirdly, it's like this is just like free handouts a bit feeling, where everyone's just getting a free leg up even if they don't deserve it. But at the same time, if we go back to my previous theory, how things will even out, if someone's given $1 million and they're not worth $1 billion, they're going to lose it somehow. But those were the thoughts that ran to my mind. And I had that realization recently that everyone in our generation is going to be given a house. Majority of people, I guess, yeah.
You're right. And like, you know what it makes me think of? The people that say first moved to this country ages ago, the very first migrants, say Chinese, Indian, Vietnamese, whatever, those very first migrants that came way before our parents did. I think it'll be safe to assume our parents might have come around the same time. I don't know. Were you born here?
Yes.
Yeah. So you were born here, so that means our parents would have come.
First generation.
Yeah. We're like, yeah, they're first generation migrants with, well, that's first generation Australians. Yeah. Whatever, right? Now, those people that moved ages ago, they already have that. There's been Indians, Chinese, Australians living here for ages and ages, and their parents migrated here a long time ago. And as a result, they're able to afford these houses because back then it was cheaper, so when they have it. But you're seeing it right now. Like, I see all these people that they're Australians, they are Anglo-Saxon, they're Anglo, and they have huge houses. And like, I remember when I was in primary school, when I was young, we didn't have a huge house. We didn't have a massive, nice house. We were comfortable. But like, you'd see these guys with like, big houses and everything. And I was always wondering like how, and then my parents are like, oh, it's because they've been here for a long time. It's not their house. Their parents gave it to them. So it's like, it's the same sort of, no. I wasn't like, oh, why don't we have one? I'm like,
no, I'm saying like, you're right. I'm having that light bulb moment as you're giving it to me that we are now going to be those people that have these big houses without even trying.
Exactly. We will.
Or near the city.
Yeah, it's inevitable, right? But like, yeah, you're right. When I think about it, like, you close your eyes, you look around, everyone will have a house to their name eventually. And now it's making me question this. But then the thing is, you started making me question, like, why am I working so hard if I'm going to get a house? It's not about that. It's about that I want to get something for my own self. I want to do it my own way. I want to do like everything my own way. But in saying that, it would like, it's a very tricky subject, isn't it? Like, it's, I don't know, it makes me feel.
One thing I'm thinking is like even if I work my balls off and get a house in the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years, who cares? Everyone has a house. Yeah. I'm going to have 5 houses or something to stand out. Not that I want to stand out, but like, having a house is no longer an achievement when everyone's going to be passed down a house. I think that's the thing.
I think that's the hook, line, and sinker of this entire segment. And it's a very good segment and I enjoyed it very much. But yeah, everyone, like, because we are first generation for, I don't know, what are we, first or second generation? I don't know.
maybe first generation Australians or second generation immigrants, or
yeah, I think we're second generation immigrants, and being second generation immigrants, when immigration rates have never been higher. Obviously, they stopped last year, but we came at a time when it was just peaking. But as we were 10 to 20 years old, immigration rates would have skyrocketed, right? Because it became more accessible and more easier for people to immigrate, and as a result, I think our parents got it at the right time. But it's so easy to say within a time frame. 10 years ago, before we came, it would have been easier and easier, and it's just going to keep changing and changing. But yeah, the world keeps moving, the world keeps spinning, and you're right, it's no longer an achievement to own a house and everything, but because everyone eventually will. And yeah, interesting.
You know what I want to own, Christian? I want to own one Bitcoin. I think that would be a big achievement. Owning one Bitcoin. That would be a massive achievement.
You can own it now. Go. You can put 30,000 in your Bitcoin right now, bro. 30,000 and you're done. I don't even want to talk about Bitcoin, bro. I haven't opened Binance in a while. I don't want to open Binance for
Yeah, I think that was a solid episode. I think we talked about a few different things. I think I like it. Sometimes I do. I think it's good. Sometimes you change the topic, and sometimes I change the topic. It's good to get a few topics in, because I know people do lose interest fast. So thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support for these 40 episodes. I have a blast doing this, and hopefully you guys have a blast listening to it. And if you are, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. You can wrap it up, Krishn.
Yeah, thank you guys. Episode 40 is done. 12 more. We've hit 1 year. Might try and do something special for 1 year, but maybe a few more guests. We'll see. Start listening more on our streaming services. I'll pay if someone screenshots and shows that they listen. I'll literally pay you. I'll pay you $20. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I'm down. I'll join that as well. I'm in, Krishn.
All right, done. Yeah, look, if you stream it on our service and you show me that you've listened to the full 40 minutes, 45 minutes, we'll pay you. You get a free $20. What more do you want? And they've got to make it to the end of this episode, which is like 45 minutes.
To even find out about this promotion.
Exactly. So, episode 40, thank you so much. 22nd of June. See you next week. Take care.
Awesome. This is only available for the first 5 to 30. How many people, Krishn? One person?
We'll say 3. We'll say 3.
All right, 3 for the first 3 people. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Bye.
Peace.